Hello, and welcome back to The Growth Show. I'm your host, Whitney Bateson, and today I am thrilled to welcome Amy Margulies to the show. She is an alum of the Wellness Pro website system, and we'll be talking through her experience in the episode. And she graciously agreed to have me audit her site as well a couple months ago during the Nutrition Entrepreneur Summit. And so we aired that podcast episode and my feedback to her, and she made some great edits to her site. And so now this is a bit of a catch up as well as talking about her business, her path to going into private practice. We dig into a lot of great stuff with her and just a little bit about Amy. So she is a plant-based dietitian with a rebellious twist. She believes wellness doesn't require perfection. With a background rooted in personal experience, yes, even the infamous cabbage soup diet phase, she helps women and men find peace with food and confidence in their bodies. Her approach is grounded in authenticity, humor, and compassion. Amy specializes in plant-based eating, weight management, healthy aging, and diabetes care, creating personalized strategies that support real-life balance, not rigid rules. And she runs a hybrid practice where she does self-pay as well as insurance-based. So if that is something that you're considering or wanting to learn more about for your own business, you're going to hear her talk about that as well. So without further ado, let's just dive into this wonderful conversation with Amy. Hi, Amy. Welcome so much to the show. I'm so excited to have you here.
Hi, Whitney. It's so great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's just dive right into it. Can you share a bit about the work that you do and the clients that you serve as the rebellious dietitian?
Sure. I have a private practice. I see all my clients virtually online, and I work with a lot of weight loss clients and diabetes. And I work closely with different groups of people. So I wind up doing a little bit of everything sometimes, which in the beginning of this, I thought, okay, this is my focus: weight loss, diabetes, heart disease, pretty much. And I feel like I love that I dabble a little bit in everything, but my
Yeah.
focus is weight loss and diabetes.
Okay. Yeah. And has that been, I know you mentioned, so when you were starting your business, so how long have you been in business now? Yeah, tell me about that
Sure,
journey into private practice. If it's a
sure.
long story or short story.
It is a journey, right?
Yeah.
Like everything. It's something from when I became a dietitian, which is over 30 years ago, I always wanted to do private practice. That was why I went into
Okay.
the field. That was what I wanted to do. And at the time, of course, you need to get your clinical hours. So I did that. And then I started from there in a hospital, and they opened a diabetes center. And at the time, I applied for the job there as their dietitian, and I was crushed. I was just telling my daughter the story that I didn't get this
Oh,
job because I thought I was the perfect fit. And I didn't have what was the certified diabetes educator at the time. So it was one of those things where you couldn't get it unless you had the hours, and you couldn't get the job unless you had that.
uh-huh.
I figured all that out. I wound up at a different diabetes center eventually and got my certified diabetes education. And then I always did private practice on the side. My
Okay.
career I actually did some pharmaceutical sales for a little bit that was diabetes based, a drug called Precos for diabetes, which was a
Mhm.
long time ago, and all kinds of different things, always doing private practice on the side.
Mhm.
And then I guess it's been 2.5 years now where I finally made the leap to just do private practice. So
Good
I
for
have
you.
been, yes, yeah.
What got you to that point where you were like, okay, it's time?
I definitely being in different corporate worlds and always being like, this is the time, this is the time. And then I got laid off from my last position, and I
Mhm.
knew it was coming. And so I was preparing for this moment. I was like, my moment is coming. I just knew I was like one people like looking forward to getting laid off, and because I knew it would just be that had to happen to make me finally do it. But I will say, as much as prepared as I thought I was getting on the side, I was not. I don't feel like I was that prepared at all. Like maybe 10%, but
Oh, really? What were some
it's
of
a
the things that
lot.
like surprised you?
One, when I started, I didn't have a website, of course, at the start, so that was a big thing.
So you've been
Um,
doing the private practice on the side, just word of mouth without the website
Correct.
and all that. Okay.
Exactly. And I would see clients and I would reach out to their physicians, but I wasn't doing any marketing at the time. Word of mouth was working to a point, but I wasn't talking about it enough, I don't think either. And then even when I made the leap, like realizing how much everywhere you go, that if it comes up in conversation, or it's a good thing to always bring up. So
And
kind of
have a
thing.
place to send people and
Exactly. And
yeah.
then I didn't take any insurance when I was doing it on the side. It was all cash pay.
Hmm.
And that was a big thing, was getting registered and certified with all the insurances. So that's
Hmm.
what really was one of the things it took. It's just everything is such a learning experience.
Yeah, I've heard the trials and tribulations of getting
Yes.
credentialed with the insurance companies and it being just a real challenge. And so you have a hybrid practice now where you do both insurance and private pay, or are you solely insurance?
Correct. I do both private pay and insurance, but I feel like my practice is probably 80% insurance based.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's really where I get a bulk of my clients.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And so in terms of like your business now and where it is, what's like the definition of a good week when like you're like, yeah, this is the stuff I'm working on. This was a good week in the business.
Exactly. In the beginning, when you're trying to get more clients, I still remember this conversation with my sister-in-law. I'm like, and I honestly wanted to do this part-time, I should add, and we can discuss what part-time means because there really is no exact such thing, but control my schedule where at least I'd see clients 3 days a week for the most part, but have 2 days to manage life and then everything else.
Hmm.
And so I was like, 10 clients a week will be my number. I'm like, if I could at least do that, I think I could survive and keep going. And at the time, it was like anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 to 4. It was like a while of that. And then I
Hmm.
started getting 10. And now the most I try to see in a week, like 18 is like a tops. It's a lot. So
Yeah.
that's a tops. But I definitely get between 10 to 14 generally a week now. And I am pushing people out as I need to and that kind of stuff, which feels great.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. And so, in terms of the time that you're spending then on, I guess let's shift into the website stuff and how those clients are coming in. Was there a turning point? You said when you started, you didn't have the website. What was that point when you realized I really need to have a website that works?
Sure. Like even for referrals, just doing emails I knew was not enough. And then every time I'd get a referral, it was so much work to get someone signed up and get all their information and things like that. So that was when I was like, okay. And I should go back and say I had a website, but it wasn't like a working
Right.
website. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So you came to us and you had one. And so what were some of the
Yes.
things it didn't have like the booking in there, right? It wasn't as
Correct.
automated and all.
So there wasn't really any automation. I didn't really feel like my website flowed that much. And at the time, at some point I started putting my blogs on there, but I had a team of people that would help me do my website all the time.
Mhm.
And if you would notice like any kind of error or something, it was like I had to reach out to them. Like I couldn't really touch it.
Oh,
So that part was hard. And then as far as clients went, I didn't feel like it wasn't, from what I learned, it wasn't selling my practice. It wasn't like a marketing tool. It was more like I needed a website. I got it together and had people put it up there for me and then realized
right.
all the things that needed to be different. Again, all learning as we go.
Yeah, that's the thing is like we can't get it right the first time because we don't know. We're growing the business and we're just doing the best we can. But then when you find that space to say, okay, this is the time to update it and improve it, because I have to imagine if you're keeping that full client load, you don't have a lot of time. Before we hit record, we were talking about social media a little bit, and it's a balancing of your time. You only have so many hours in the week. You mentioned, okay, 3 days a week of clients and then other days for life stuff. But then there's all the business stuff too of
Exactly.
following up on referrals or going on sales calls or whatever the case may be. So has the website been helping you to minimize that amount of time that you have to be spending on that marketing and even sales side of things a little bit?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I feel like I can market now and I learned to do like the QR code so I can share that, which is
Hmm.
amazing. So it's like you don't have to say that much when people can just go right to your website and everything is laid out there for them.
Yeah.
So that's been hugely helpful. And when I market to doctors, when I market to friends, like wherever I am, it's just so easy. And you feel so confident being able to share your website, knowing the website will speak even better than I can in a 5-minute conversation about
Right.
what the person may want. And sometimes I feel like you assume there's certain things that people are looking for or have questions about, but so much better when they can see it because they know, exactly what they're looking for and what they want to know.
Yeah, everyone's a little bit different in terms of what kind of information they're going to look for on the website. And that's why we have the blogs, we have the FAQs, we have the download, we have talking about your services, about you. You don't know. But yeah, in a conversation with someone, you're not going to try and give them all of that information up front because then it's no longer a 5-minute conversation.
Exactly, exactly. And I like my favorite thing with the client is when they've been on my website and they say, I picked you because, and I'll say, because you just seem like you keep it real. I love that you talk about balance. I love that you talk about progress, not perfection. And they'll pick things from my website and say them to me. And that like definitely brings me joy.
Yeah.
It was all worth it.
Exactly. And you made a good point too about how it can say things sometimes better than we can because we're focused on helping our customers. We're not always necessarily in that mindset of we need to make sure that we're using the words that they're looking for and all of that. And so when you take that time to put it into your copy, it's still you. Even I was looking at your website before we talked, and like it's clear you bring that rebellious spirit. And I think that's important when it comes to a brand as well. A lot of times we think about the visuals and all of that, but the tone and the language that you're using it's the whole thing. You're the whole person, and having that come through your website just allows people to really get that feeling. And so that when they get on the phone with you, they're already sold a little bit on it. And
Yes, yes. No, I agree, Whitney. And it's so true that I wanted, when I even went into private practice, like my whole philosophy was like, I want to be exactly who I am so that when people come to me, they are exactly who they are. Right. And if I expect that
yeah.
of them, I'm like, I don't want anyone seeing me, whatever, having 2 glasses of wine at dinner. People be like, oh, Amy's having 2 glasses of wine. And she said, love the like I say
Yeah.
exactly what I do, try to keep it. And I do feel like the website really came across that way, which I like a lot.
Yeah, no, I think you did a fabulous job. And that's just so rewarding when you do hear people repeating things that you said on the site, because then you also know that they're the right fit for you,
Exactly.
which is really
Yes.
important. Yeah.
Yes.
And so you mentioned too that in the past, when you had someone else managing your site and building it, there was a lack of control. And so, how has having control over your blog and the recipes and even just being able to edit the copy on a page when you want to, like, how has that impacted your business and even just like your enjoyment of things?
Sure. It definitely is so much better because I feel like one, like even a little typo that would stress me out and stuff, like it like takes 5 seconds to go in and fix. And I
Yeah.
love when even friends of mine will give me if there was anything like to change. And I'm like, thank you. Please give me more feedback. So that part's great. With my blog, when I had to hand it to somebody else to post, there had to be obviously some time for them to get it up there. And by the time they got it up there, I would already have things I wanted to even change and it would be hard. And I love that it's now like more of a flow. I can write it and change it and even recipes because I'll remake my recipes still. And sometimes like, oh,
Right.
I'm going to go on and change this ingredient and things like
Hmm.
that. And I just love feeling it's more truly my own because it's all I can just fix it. And not that I'm not a tech expert by
Right.
any stretch. So some things are harder than others, but it's all the more you do anything, I feel like the easier it gets.
Yeah, for sure. And that idea of our website has to be this place that it wasn't just like a starting and an end point, and it has to be now perfect. Even that, like you mentioned with the blog, like we should be able to adjust things and adapt things, because if we feel like we have to have it perfect for this day and it's never going to be changed again, or it's going to be like this big thing that I have to like email someone and show a screenshot of you need to fix this
Right.
thing, it just slows everything down. And it's not to say that you can't have someone in your business helping you upload things and all of that. Like in my business, I have people on my team who are helping me edit pages and all of that. But sometimes it's just easier and faster for me to go in there and I want to change the headline on my homepage and see how that feels. I can do it. But I have the option, which
Exactly.
yeah, is a lot better. So
Yes.
it's blending it. It's not like you're not a developer now. You're not putting that on
Right.
your CV saying I'm also a website developer. It's just more that like you have that authority over your site now to change things when you want to. So
Exactly. And with that, then sometimes like changes that you know that you need to do and you keep putting them off and it's okay.
right.
Like you have to step back, prioritize and be like, I need to do this and make sure you get it done.
Yeah, there's those parts of it too. I actually just put an email out to my list being like, yeah, there's a long list of things I want to do, but just chip away at it one by one and it'll go a lot faster than you think. And but yeah, when we put all this just it's too much and we make a big pile
Right.
and it's like a wall of work and it's
Exactly.
progress not perfection, chipping away at it. I love that. So you also have shared with us that you thought the program was awesome, the Wellness Pro website system, and you really enjoyed it. So what was the thing that made it the most awesome for you? If there was one thing or maybe a few things.
Sure. I think like the group environment was really great and learning from everybody else and hearing what everyone else was struggling with too, as well as doing well with.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. And having that community room to have conversations. And even more, sometimes like you don't feel like you post as much, but reading what everybody else is doing. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I would post, it was just always so helpful. I think that part was great. And
Yeah.
just, I think that your whole system really builds the confidence that you can do it. Because in the beginning, I was like, can I really do this?
What
And
did I
then,
just sign up for?
but you truly take it step by step. And it's fun, honestly, at the end. Like, I was like, I didn't think I'd enjoy this that much. Like, I just thought it was something I needed to do. But it was fun. And even till now, like, even going in, like, if I struggle with something, like, I'll back out and take it, just know, like, it's fine. And I know it's awesome being able to reach back to you too and your team. Like if I'm really
Yeah.
stuck or something, you guys are always there, which is truly amazing
Right.
because I don't think that you find that in many places. So it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like both on the website design side, but then in the dietitian practitioner, like I come from that. So I know how we feel, what we need. And like that feeling of being alone in your technology is not a good place to
Yes.
feel. And so getting that support. So I love that you shared that and that you find that valuable. And yeah, and being able to go back into the videos. We actually just did the whole revamp of that part. I don't know if you've been able to check it out yet, but like
I did.
we tried to
Go
make
ahead.
it like more bite size. Oh, you need to update a button? Just watch this video, as opposed to,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes. No, it was super helpful. And I
Oh,
know I
good.
need to go back in even because there's again my list of things because I'm excited to then go find the other videos that I need.
Mm-hmm.
But it is definitely, yeah, the revamp has been great
Oh,
because
good.
sometimes it, like the hardest part is going and is it going to take me a while to figure out where in this 30-minute video, even though I think most of them aren't even that long, but
Yeah.
yeah, super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. We gave some thought to that and I'm glad to hear that it was
Yes.
helpful. So
Yeah. No, it's great.
good. Good. So, what's one unexpected thing that you've learned since launching your site? Something that maybe other wellness professionals, dietitians, entrepreneurs should know or think about?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned is that your website is a part of you. Yes, it's a part of your business, but it's really a part of you. And I think that spending the time, especially on the copy that you're putting up there, and really thinking about it. And I had written some copy, I had worked with my clients, like I picked, and this was through a different program I had done to ask all their thoughts and like really getting
Mm,
where your clients are at and getting to use their words to like taking the time to do that and then your own and really just blending it all together. I think it's just so powerful. And I think that's been the best part of the website was really being proud of it and excited to send people there. And again, knowing people will learn what you want them to learn, even if you've forgotten at this point, what you put in certain spots.
yeah, yeah. There could be those surprises too of, oh, yes, I did have
Right.
a blog about that, or yes, I did cover that. And
Exactly.
yeah, that's helpful. But
Exactly. Yeah.
I love that so much. And that's such an interesting way to put it is that your website, it is, we do talk about that it's about your customers and all of that, but it's almost about that relationship with your customers. And
Yep.
that's really what it's creating. And that confidence. Yeah, I can imagine you're having a conversation with someone, maybe they were referred by a doctor or you're at some event or something like that, and you want to feel that they've just been talking to you. And then when they go to your website, it's going to feel like they're still talking to you and getting that same like value from being on the website as if they were talking to you.
That's a great point. Exactly. Yes. And I feel like if you can really create that, then that's perfect. That's what you want for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. If someone is still hesitating to build their site or join a program like ours, what would you say to them? What would your advice be?
I would say if you're even thinking about it, then you should do it because we all get stuck in our thoughts and debate. And certainly to ask questions like what is holding them back, that they should reach out to you and your team and see, how it could be answered. But if they feel like it's something they need to do, then it's something that they need to do. And
Probably time.
yes, exactly. And yes, it's work and dedication, but it's fun, honestly, too, along with that hard work. Keep that in mind. And you're helping yourself feel better about your business and then helping your future clients and current clients really get a better experience also from working with you.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And so your site, and you're creating this asset, this like people will say leveraged asset, because it's basically sitting there doing work while you're not doing the work of the selling and all of that. And so going back to the marketing aspect and finding clients and all of that, you're using your website as part of that. But so how are you leveraging your site these days? It's with the referrals, networking, or are you also doing like events and
I haven't done any events yet. That has been on my list because I would like to do some small groups, I think would be great.
mm,
But I feel like I mostly leverage it, especially when I love the fact that it will do the free 10-minute consult because same thing, like if anyone is having any hesitation at all, I'd rather them come speak to me than not. So it's
mhm,
the best way to get a referral. And I love how easily like that happens through the site. So
great.
that part is great. So that's been something that I feel like I wasn't doing that before. So that's been a huge difference with the current site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
getting that
great.
connection, getting people on a call so that they can talk through it, especially when you're offering one-to-one counseling and you're offering services. And you mentioned that even, you're insurance based, but people still need to decide to work with you versus another insurance based provider. It's not just an easy yes. And I've definitely heard the frustrations too of people are not committed maybe because like insurance is covering it, and so it's okay, I'm just coming and my doctor told me to or whatever.
Right.
And so being able to form that connection with people and really get them bought in and actually be invested in the work with you, whether they're paying for it themselves or whether insurance is covering it, like it's still important, I would say. Do you agree?
I completely agree. Oh, absolutely. And I do feel like people, and even people that come personally, like they obviously most people want to use their insurance no matter what.
Yeah.
So it's great having that because I want to use my insurance. When it comes to your health, that's what you would like to do, right? It's not
Yeah,
possible
you're
for
paying
everyone.
for it. So
Right,
you might as
exactly,
well.
exactly, right? So I feel like that's been great. And the website has been so nice that I can put the insurances there. And then that's where it often will lead them to the 10-minute free consult for that because people just want to make sure. And I think
Mhm.
that's something my clients, especially a lot of them, like are very nervous. Some people just cannot afford to pay and don't want to make sure that all is
Covered.
going to be smooth. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
that's
And
been
we didn't have you come live on the podcast for an audit. I had technical difficulties and all of that, but I had given you some feedback and we have that in a prior episode. And I was checking out your site and I saw that you made those updates specifically. Like I looked at your opt-in page now for your lead magnet and you really simplified that page with the bullets of, okay, this is what you're going to get. So I love that. And then I saw that you also put the summary at the top of your page talking about your different programs so that people can just get a bird's eye view of what are the different programs that you offer. And one additional thing, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that and how that went for you. But then one other thing, when I was looking at it, I think you could potentially go even further on that program page to really show how they're different, each of those different programs. Because potentially once you get further down the page, there's like the bullets of, what's included in all of those things. But I would love
Right.
to see one statement that's this is for you if blah, 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 and have it be different for each one. So people can be like, oh, the glow
That's mine.
one is the one I
Right.
want. Or,
Yes. And you're absolutely right. And I will say it's funny because I paused at that part because I know that it needed more thinking, even you're right. And I will tell you that people will come to me and say, tell me which one, because I don't know which one.
oh, there
So
we
I
go.
know that you're right when you said that. I was like, she nailed it. I know I need to go back and do that.
Yeah.
And that's honestly a reminder to go back and prioritize to do that because
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely on the list. Because you think as the dietitian, right, that everything is so clear, but I know I've had many clients say, just tell me which one you think I should do.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's great. And I'm glad that you also still took some action and put that summary at the top and then was like, okay, I got to come back to this and I'll keep
Yes,
refining because that's the thing is that if we try and do all of it all at once, it's just too much. And sometimes you do, especially when it comes to copywriting, you really need time to marinate and think on
agreed.
things. Yeah. But it is nice like to when we started the program we've got the copy templates and you're writing the copy in the Google Docs and I always say do that first because otherwise you're learning tech and doing way too many things all at once but then
Right,
once your site's up it is nice to be able to just like you see it laid out on the page and then you can just go in and visually just change the words and then you can see okay how does this flow how does this is it too much wording is it just enough
right.
so makes it a little bit easier
Exactly.
like once it's all built to just kind of fine tune basically.
I completely agree. Absolutely. And then getting feedback from potential clients, even friends, like anyone that will take a look at your site for you, which I think is something you even said back at the time because
Mm-hmm.
I might think it's super clear. Again, like with my programs, even as I've had people ask me, it took till you mentioned it, I was like, she's right, because people have said that to me, and I never went back and fixed it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
It's tough when we're on a sales call, we're in a conversation with a client, we're so present to what they are asking, what we're talking about.
Right.
And it can be really tough to take ourselves out of it and then be like, oh, what does that mean for my copy or how I'm selling or how I'm positioning things? But when we get those little people knocking us on the head and being like, hey, maybe you should think about this, then at least then those things come back to you. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I have had people ask about that. So it's, yeah, that's, and now you can think about you've probably described the differences enough times on calls. And if it's been
Exactly.
successful, then it's okay. I'm just going to take that wording and put it on the website. And then that also really helps. So you mentioned your calls are 10 minutes. It's like we don't have much time to cover a lot of ground. And so if your website is already showing those differences, then you can like fine tune as opposed to starting from ground zero of let me tell you about this difference in this one, this and that. So
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. No, I
yeah.
agree. I agree. Yeah, definitely something to get back to and to dig into. And now I feel
Yeah.
like you're always waiting for that time. And I do feel like now is the time. Like I feel like seasons always are different. And I feel
Mhm.
as we're transitioning the end of the school year and the end of spring into summer, I just feel like people slow down a little bit at that point. So whenever there is, like I was just telling another friend that had gone into private practice recently, I'm like, that's when you start doing all those things that you know you need to do.
Oh, I completely agree. I remember my first slow season in November and December of like my first year in business, and I was freaking out because it
I
is
believe
still scary
it
when there
is
are these
scary.
slow times because you don't know is it going to pick up again or is this the new
Right.
normal? Yeah. So
Exactly.
it's
Yep.
terrifying. But since then, I have learned like in those slow times, it is the time to check off those things on your to-do list because I think it can be tough for us as business owners too to think we're doing fine up to this point. Do I really need to do that thing? Is that thing really going to make a difference? Is me updating the copy on my website a little bit more really going to make a difference? Or should I try a new marketing tactic or try harder somewhere else? But it is this reminder that no, people are visiting your site. They are reading what's on your site and then they're getting
Exactly.
on a call with you and they're reflecting back what you're saying or asking questions. Like that is the whole point of a website, is that it doesn't have to be a lot of efforting and work. Like, it's supposed to just be there and working, but you do need to keep refining it and putting in that time to make it better if you want to get those better results. Otherwise, it just sits there. And but we think we have to like actively go on social media, or oh, we need to
Right.
start this new thing. And it's no, make sure your foundation is solid. Don't neglect it.
Exactly, exactly. And the other thing I know that I need to do is client quotes. I know I need
Oh
to
yeah.
update them. So those are the two things that I know. I'm like, I know that will take a minute to figure out again, but I'll go back to
Yeah.
the new videos and I'm sure it's going to be easy and I just need to do
Yes.
it like anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, another to-do list item. But
Yes.
yeah, you should be able now to just find the video that's about updating testimonials, and
Yes.
so it'll be good.
Exactly. Right. It
Awesome.
will be good. And for that exact reason, because, the people coming to the site, they'll see those. And I feel like I'm excited to show them more of what can happen and how you will hopefully feel from
Yeah.
working with me. And that the site is just really amazing for that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that social proof with the testimonials and them like seeing themselves in that copy, everything you just said. Yeah. It's important, especially as time goes on. Like, we may have a few testimonials, but then sometimes we get like some really amazing ones and then they just sit. I was the worst. When I started, I actually had people give me a recommendation on LinkedIn because I was like, at least it's visible somewhere, as opposed to me asking them to email me something and it's going to sit in my inbox, because at that
Right.
point I didn't have a team and it was just me. And I was like, I don't have the time to go through all these testimonials and go and post them and whatever. So I was like, okay, at least they're there. But now we use this tool called Senja for collecting testimonials that
And
can be fun. And then you have it embedded on your site too. That's what we use for some of our sales pages. And it helps. But even when I'm like, I still have other pages where I have like physical testimonials and all of that. And it's just like, you got to go back and look at your new testimonials because there's some good stuff in there and
exactly.
you need to update it. Yeah, I think
Exactly.
this is just a good reminder and lesson that there are constant things that we can be doing. They don't need to be hard. We don't need to make them be like a big thing, but they can be meaningful, like just going and refining our copy or thinking back to, okay, I've had a few discovery calls over the past couple weeks. What were the questions that people asked me? Were there any questions that I feel actually should have been answered on my website or could have been answered better? Or maybe there were new words that people used to describe things that I didn't realize that people talked about this problem that they had or what they had been trying before, and bringing that in. And it's just this kind of like maybe once a quarter or even 2 times a year, just how can you keep your website fresh and relevant to all the new things that you're learning and gaining from working with your customers and all of that.
Exactly, exactly. No, it's a great point, Whitney. It really is. And keeping it fresh it's work, but it's definitely doable. And the site, the way it's set up, just makes it so much easier to get it done.
Yeah, you think about, we were talking about social media and how like I post, I was joking with someone the other day. I'm like, yes, I have a business account, but my stories are filled with animal videos almost exclusively these days because I'm just traveling and that's what I love doing. And then we post the podcast episodes and that's fine. But then the socials are just really stuff I enjoy. But
Right.
think about how much time, if we were sitting down saying, okay, we're going to post on social media, and now I have to come up with a reel or I have to come up with a post and I have to design it, how many hours that would take every day, because you got to feed the beast. It's always going. And then you equate that to how much time it would take to make some of those updates to your website and know that that site is displaying that information to every person that comes and visits and learns about it. And those small conversations that you have, they're coming to that. Like, I
Right.
think also it is putting in a perspective that yes, it's time spent, but then sometimes I think people will go to some of these other marketing tactics and it's like the amount of time spent on that is
Yes.
is a lot.
Exactly. I remember people saying if you were doing Instagram, like it had to be 3 times a day. And I was like, 3 times a day? Or three, yeah, I think it was 3 times a day. And then multiple, whatever.
Yeah, like a
I was just like,
story and
what?
then yeah.
I'm like,
No,
I can't even do it. Yeah, 3 times a
can't
year.
do it.
And it's funny, I tried once. I did one Instagram post, one reel, and like it never went back. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
and we have all these different ways of building relationships with our customers. We have our email list. You're putting out a blog that's going to help people understand your approach to something and they can find that online. It's just social media is not this requirement. If you enjoy it, that's fine. We've had some
right.
great episodes with people that talk about social media and all of that, but then there's a lot of us, myself included, you, where it's just not what I'm interested in doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's true. And I love like having my blog on the website. I feel like that's my social media. I do send it out in a newsletter each
Great.
month and it brings everyone to the site, which is great. And then
Yep.
everything is just there. So I
Mhm.
feel like that, of course, is work, the blog, but I feel like
Yeah.
it does. I love that it just brings everyone in, which is helpful.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I find that the writing for a blog is more enjoyable than trying to figure out like what's the trendy hook I can do for this reel or whatever. I think
Exactly.
especially for where it's more of the science basis, it's more about the sometimes this coaching aspect that having a bit more of a long form way to connect with customers and educate them is just a little bit better. I just know for myself that I've just never been able to get to that sound biteable kind of way of communicating something. It just stresses me out. It's just really hard. So I much prefer a longer form. Doing a podcast, like I just once I launched the podcast, I was like, oh, this is so much better.
That's
So
great. That's great. No, your
yeah.
podcast has been amazing. I always listen to every episode and it's super
Oh,
helpful. Yeah. And you
oh,
can
good.
tell that you enjoy it. Like that comes through, which is that's what it's about. Because if you don't enjoy it, like for us doing social media, you could probably quickly tell that we
Just phoning it in a little bit.
and it's hard, right? It's not how you want to be.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's not how we love our clients and our customers and we want to support them, but yeah, if we're not enjoying that way in which we're showing up, then yeah, it's not really doing its job. Well,
Exactly. And then it's taking, which I'm sure you manage too, like everyone that goes on social media and then brings it all back to you and says, I saw this and I saw this. So it's like you're trying to just keep up with at least what's out there without adding to it.
yeah, that's a fair point too. There's definitely a lot of opinions and information out there.
Exactly. It's true.
So,
It's like
yeah.
the endless information. Yeah.
I want to wrap it up. This has been such a wonderful conversation and learning about your business journey and what's been helpful for you. And I just really appreciate you taking the time, Amy, to share all of this. I just wanted to see if there was any final words of advice and parting words that you wanted to share with listeners before we wrapped up.
I would just say that again, if you're thinking about going into private practice for one and then creating a website, even if you're already in practice, it's so worth the time and effort. And again, I just think that your system made it so easy and hard work, but it comes out and you just feel so good about it. And it's an amazing way to sell your business and to keep it going. It's a perfect flow, bringing all the spaces together, which I love between you and your clients.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy. And
Thank
just
you.
appreciate you having you on the show. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Whitney. It's been fun. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of The Growth Show. And a huge thanks to Amy for joining us and for sharing her story with us and all of her insights of how she's been growing her business and all the ways that her website has supported her. And I really loved how we really shifted that perspective of what a website is for your business and how it is extending you and extending that relationship to your customers before you even talk to them, or maybe in the midst of those conversations, they're getting to learn more on your website. And hopefully this inspired you. If you have things on your website to-do list that you have been putting off, to really realize that there's a lot of benefit to having your website updated and current and fresh and speaking to your customers. So maybe this is your little nudge to take those things off of your to-do list, block out an hour today or tomorrow and get some of those things done, knock them out piece by piece, because it will make a difference. Remember too, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a review. It only takes a few minutes and it would mean a lot. It helps our show grow and reach more people like you. And if you are interested in joining the Wellness Pro website system and working with us to launch your website, we talked a lot about Amy's experience within the program and everything that she gained from working with us to revamp her website. If you want to be a part of that, then make sure you go to wellnessprowebsite.com. We just finished enrollment, but there's always an opportunity to chat with me if you have questions, learn more about the program, and you can also join the waitlist so that you can be the first to know when we do open enrollment again, so you can join us in our next cohort to launch your beautiful strategic website online with a heck of a lot less stress and a lot more confidence, as Amy talked about. So if you have any suggestions for future episodes, I'm always here and happy to hear them. And if you felt that this episode was really useful and you want to share it with a colleague, please do. Sharing is caring. The more people that can gain access to the podcast and hear what we're talking about, the better, because we're all growing and learning and wanting to just get our businesses where we want them to be and help more people. That's it for now. I will catch you next week on The Growth Show. Thanks for listening.